Welcome back my Sky Royal Jet channel. It was a calm night on June 1, 2009, when Air France Flight 447 lifted off from Rio de Janeiro, heading toward Paris. On board were 228 people, families returning home, professionals on business trips, and a young crew ready for a routine overnight flight across the Atlantic. Nothing about this journey felt dangerous. The Airbus A330 was modern, trusted, and had crossed oceans many times before. As the aircraft climbed into the dark sky, the city lights of Brazil slowly disappeared beneath the clouds. Inside the cabin, passengers settled into sleep. Some watched movies, some closed their eyes, and others dreamed of landing in Paris by morning. Up front, the cockpit crew monitored instruments, confident and calm. Several hours into the flight, the aircraft approached a massive storm system near the equator. Thunderstorms in this region are common, tall, and powerful. The pilots adjusted course slightly to avoid the worst clouds, a normal decision made thousands of times every day. But hidden inside those clouds was a chain of events no one could see coming. At 35,000 feet, ice crystals suddenly blocked the plane's pitot tubes, small sensors that measure airspeed. Within seconds, the cockpit instruments began giving conflicting speed readings. The autopilot disconnected automatically, handing full control back to the pilots. In the darkness, with turbulence shaking the aircraft, confusion set in. The co-pilot, reacting to the alarms, pulled the nose of the plane upward. To him, it felt like the aircraft was going too fast. But in reality, the plane was losing speed. High above the ocean, the Airbus climbed beyond its safe limits. The engines roared, but physics does not bend to panic. Inside the cabin, passengers may have felt the plane rise sharply, then strangely float. There were no screams recorded, no chaos heard, only silence and uncertainty. In the cockpit, warning alarms sounded again and again. The word stall echoed, but the pilots could not understand why. Their training had never truly prepared them for this exact situation, at this altitude, in complete darkness. The aircraft entered a full aerodynamic stall. It was no longer flying forward, it was falling. For more than 3 minutes, the plane descended toward the Atlantic Ocean, nose high, engines running, but wings unable to generate lift. The pilots pulled harder, believing they were preventing a dive, not realizing this action made recovery impossible. Below them was nothing but black ocean. At 2:14 a.m., Air France Flight 447 struck the water at high speed. There were no survivors. When the plane disappeared from radar, families around the world waited, hoping for a miracle. Days turned into weeks. Search teams scanned the ocean surface, finding debris but no answers. The black boxes, the flight recorders holding the truth, were missing, buried deep beneath the sea. For 2 long years, the mystery haunted aviation experts. Then, in 2011, the wreckage was finally found nearly 4,000 meters underwater. When investigators recovered the black boxes, the full story emerged, not of a broken plane, but of human confusion, overwhelming stress, and systems that failed to communicate clearly. This tragedy changed aviation forever. Airlines around the world rewrote training programs. Pilots began practicing high-altitude stall recovery again, something many had not done manually in years. Aircraft systems were redesigned to provide clearer warnings. Pitot tubes were improved to prevent ice blockage. Air France 447 did not crash because of one mistake. It was a chain: weather, sensors, automation, and human reaction, each link small on its own, but deadly together. Today, every time a modern aircraft crosses the Atlantic safely, it carries lessons written in the memory of Flight 447. Lessons paid for at the highest cost. The skies are safer now because of that night, but the story remains a reminder that even in the most advanced machines, human understanding matters most. High above the ocean, where the stars reflect on dark water, the legacy of Flight 447 still whispers to every pilot who listens.